This programme was funded by the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland with the television licence fee.
Welcome to Leading the Field, Episode 5. In the penultimate part of the series on the strong horse racing culture in East Cork and West Waterford, we hear from two Cheltenham Festival winning cousins from the local area, a father and son team from Curraglass who both bagged big race success last season, a local point-to-point that made international headlines in 2016, and the Carrick Tool trainer on the lookout for the next star. Paul Townend has undoubtedly become one of the best jockeys in the country. A native of Lisgould, the rider who is affiliated with the Willie Mullins stable began his journey as a jockey on the pony racing circuit.
I started pony racing when I was 13 or 14, I suppose, and it was a great start. I'd done a bit of show jumping things first, and it was kind of the next step then. Started pony racing, got one or two at home, and then started riding for other gang and got going, and with a good bit of success there as well, thanks to Davy Condon, I suppose. I was riding for the lads he used to ride for, and I was gradually started going up to visit David in Willie's and things, and done my junior cert then and decided I'd take a year out, and I'm still taking the year out, so things worked out, yeah.
Davy Condon, another Cheltenham Festival winning jockey, is your cousin. He was also based with Willie Mullins for a while. Ruby Walsh is the current champion rider and is the stable's first jockey. I'd imagine both have been key to your progress.
When Davy was up there, when I went up, it was different to a young lad moving from home, so I was moving in with my first cousin, you know, so it was a help that way, and just watching him and riding work with them every day of the week, you know. David Casey's there, Richie Kiley, another local man, was up there living in the house with us as well, so they all helped, and driving me around the country when I wasn't driving, and looking after me, I suppose. But no, racing wise, it was huge, you know, to be part of, and riding such good horses work every day of the week, you know.
What do you think makes Willie Mullins so good? Why is it that he's dominated the big race landscape for the last number of years? I
don't know. Look, he's obviously a very knowledgeable man, and you know, he does everything kind of by sight. You know, he doesn't have lists of things. He takes everything day by day and watches them and lets the horse get ready rather than rushing the horse for a race. You know, and you know, he's a genius at picking out races for horses. You know, everyone sees the big winners he trains, but it's the lesser horses that probably take more training, and he's very good at sussing them out and picking out a race that'll suit them. It's kind of interval training. It's different to a lot of other places, but you know, it's training horses, I think, is whatever gallop you have, you just have to know your gallop, and you know, he knows his gallop and he knows how to work it.
Paul, you've won Cheltenham Festival races, the Irish Champion Hurdle, the Galway Plate, the Melling Chase. I mean, what a CV. You also had the enviable task of being Hurricane Fly's work rider.
It definitely made it a bit easier to get up in the mornings anyway when he was waiting for you inside, but no, he was different class. I don't think I'll ever be as associated with a horse as good as him again. And what he'd done, you know, and he was just so talented, and a real character at the back of it as well.
Yeah, quite quirky. He used to be biting people's fingers.
He would, yeah. He definitely mellowed out a bit towards the end, but you still want your wits about you, know.
The champion jockey's title came your way in 2011. That must have been really special.
I think I was 20, yeah. Same as Ruby's misfortune, I suppose, and I was able to step in for a lot of rides, and you know, it was a big deal, you know. I probably didn't appreciate it as much as I should have when I got it. I was young and naive, but no, I have it now and they can't take it off me. Everyone starts the start of the season wanting to ride as many winners as they can, and when you're champion jockey, you've ridden more than anyone else that year. So yeah, everyone wants to be, but it's hard done with Ruby and the ammunition Brian has with Gigginstown as well, you know.
Now, you have linked up with other trainers, including local trainer Terrence OBrien.
Yeah, I had a lot of luck for Terrence down through the years. With Galway winners, and we kind of started out together, I suppose, coming on the scene, and no, he's doing great as well, and hopefully we'll link up with him again in the future. But you know, it's a tough game. You know, you need to get the horses training as well as riding. You know, you're only as good as your last winner, and you're forgot about very quickly in this game.
And Rebecca Curtis came calling as well over the last few seasons. Good trainer to link up with.
Definitely. managed to pull a Cheltenham Festival winner out of it for her, so that was a big help. But no, she had a very quiet year last year. Horses were sick throughout the year. She finished off the year well, and they're running well over there now again. But no, a big stable of horses as well to keep you busy, I suppose, and keep you fit and get to know a lot of the English tracks and their way of racing. It definitely helps.
What has it been like competing on the biggest stage alongside Davy Condon, a cousin of yours?
Big deal. I suppose rivalry was big enough there as well, but friendly rivalry. And if you didn't win, you'd like to see Davy having won. And he was unfortunate with the accident he had, and that he isn't riding anymore. But he was very successful, rode in the Melbourne Cup very young, and I suppose he drove me to wanting to be a jockey more so, even because I was just looking up to him and wanted to do what he was doing from a young age. I have a little sister riding Pint of Pints now as well, Jodie, so she's doing okay. She got her first taste of an injury there recently, so we'll see how she feels about that. But yeah, we're like both our families. We're just well, we've known nothing else but racing, and we grew up going locally to all the Pint of Pints around here, and national hunt racing is probably in our blood.
Jockey Davy Condon, Paul's first cousin, has had huge success in his career. From his Supreme Novices hurdle victory aboard Abazian to his Ladbroke hurdle triumph aboard Bayan, the local rider has cemented his place among the best of his generation. However, a fall in last year's Aintree Grand National forced him to retire prematurely. It was a really nasty injury.
It was kind of an ongoing injury since going back to 2010, where I slipped a disc in my neck, and they couldn't remove the disc because it would have been too dangerous, and I probably would have to finish riding then 5 years ago. So they said it's not going to do any harm, just to leave it where it is and leave it settle down. And obviously since then I've had a couple of falls, and I got a bad fall in Aintree, and the disc actually damaged my spine, so they had to remove it then, and then that was the end of that. Then I couldn't race ride again. In Cork the year before, I actually broke a few vertebrae near my neck, and the disc slipped that day as well, but not bad, and I lost power in my body for maybe 10 minutes, and that was bad enough pain, not alone breaking the vertebrae, but just kind of losing power in your body as well. It's just it was a spinal shock, they called it. So it was very like, it was like someone, after being electrocuted, more or less your body is just tingling. So, and that lasted a while, but after that then I suppose Aintree was, I didn't actually break any bone in Aintree, it was just the disc itself damaged the spine, and I lost power again, and I just done a worse job than I done in Cork. And but since it's been removed and they inserted the plate instead of the disc, it's much better in the feeling now. So, but obviously it's too dangerous to ride again. Sure, most jump jockeys, hopefully, like if they stay some way sound, they'd ride till they're 40 anyway, or 42 even. But I would like to ride for another 10 years, but unfortunately it was too dangerous, so it just took a while to sink in. But you just have to realise there's a lot of people worse off than you, and you count yourself lucky. The doctors weren't keen on me riding, definitely race riding, definitely the big no. They weren't keen on me riding work again, but they said you can do it at your own risk, and obviously I'm not stupid, and I just took it handy, and at the moment I'm not doing much of it. I'm actually got a different role now, on the ground, working with the horses from the ground and not riding out, so I'm still involved in the game, and it's good to be involved in it still.
And like Paul Townend, who was a relative, the pony racing circuit was where it began for yourself, really.
Two of us done plenty of hunting and show jumping when we were younger, and then gradually went pony racing for a fella in Dunmanway called Davy Keane, and I started with him first, and then he brought me through the circuit for a couple of years, and then Paul after that, then after me, and it was a great experience pony racing. So it just really gets your mindset on racing, really, more or less, that speed. So it was great background growing up as well. With good people younger growing up with, so they look after us as well,
Could you put into words just how good it feels to ride a winner at the Cheltenham Festival?
It's more excitement and just thrill even riding there, let alone ride a winner. But it's something different, I suppose. Like, I think Ruby White sums it up one day. It's more or less like being the football stadium for us and just walking out onto the pitch more or less when you're walking into Cheltenham, and the reception then, say after you score a goal in the Premiership, it's more or less, I'd say it's like that. Okay. So it's just ecstatic more than.
Davy and Paul have certainly grabbed their fair share of headlines in the racing world. In 2016, a local point-to-point meeting grabbed international headlines. It was a massive occasion for Chairman Kevin Galvin and all involved at Inch, which is one of the most popular meetings in the country.
Yeah, first international jockey challenge in Cork and Waterford, in the south of Ireland especially, and we're honoured to have it here in Inch. It's great crack. Good, it gives an extra buzz to the meeting, and you can see by the size of the crowd here. Even the trainers, we must thank the trainers especially, because they all committed the horses to it, and they didn't know who was riding them, and it's a big ask for the trainers and owners, and in fairness to them, they were all behind it. So it was great, made it the day it was. First of all, the expense is about 30,000 to run it. That's roughly anything from 27 to 33 or 4,000 every year since we started. It wasn't as bad back along, but with the past 10 years, that's what it's cost to run the point-to-point. Now we get the grant back for 7,000 or 8,000. We get all the entry fees. We get €50 of the entry fees. That covers another probably 7 or 8 grand of it. So we have to make up the shortfall then of about 15,000 through the local sponsors. That's where we get it all. That's where we know, every year since we started, we've broken even or made profit. We've never lost any year in 22 years we're running. So, but it's a lot of hard work on a number of people to gather that money, and to local business we'd mostly €50, but they all add up if we get enough. That's why our card is so big every year. We have about 108 pages. We have 108 pages this year now, and a lot of it is mostly ads, and that's how we survive. Since we started, we couldn't get a Sunday meeting, so the next best option we said was go maybe during the Easter holidays. So we went with the Wednesday before Easter. Most years, one year went after Easter, but all the schools are closed, so we get all the local people rowing behind it, and it's good. And I suppose the years we made money, we supported the local charities, schools and things, and I think they appreciate it and they come back and support us. So it works both ways, I suppose. Jesus, going back in 2002, I think Silver Birch won his point-to-point here. Paul Cashman rode him, and he went on and won the Grand National for Gordon Elliott. That was the first big one. Hazard Cologne won here. He went on and won the RSA Chase in Cheltenham. Fell here at the last. Good horse won the two match. Finian's Rainbow. He fell here with 15 minutes clear at the last, and he went on won a load of race in England. And only last week in the Gold Cup, of Fairlands boy, who led him to the turn into the straight. He won here, I'd say 4 years ago. But it's been load with the past 3 or 4 years now. We noticed we get a lot of horses sold out of Inch. Any of the winners of the 4-year-old, 5-year-old maidens are sold. Even the runners up are being sold out of Inch. It's a good selling track now. Venue belongs to Floorhairn. It's a long, narrow field. I suppose it's mile circuit. It's just 2 bins in the whole circuit, I suppose, makes it difficult for jockeys. But we've never had any problem with it. They seem to handle it. They get used to it, I suppose, like anything else. But it's a grand venue. It's kind of a long field, but it's a fine job. Same as we started. My father used to go to the point-to-points, and mother used to go to the point-to-points all day. I just love point-to-points, I suppose. That's where I started. Then we bought a broodmare back about 15, 20 years ago, and I've had broodmares since. So I had a runner here today. Fell at the 4th last, going well enough, but sure, that's the joys of it. And I had a mare one there a couple of years ago, presenting Lisa, so we sold her on England, so she's running England, and she has winning twice over. So, but it's good.
Curraglass trainer Liam Burke is a big supporter of the local point-to-point scene. He's also an established trainer on the track. Last season he claimed one of the biggest wins of his career to date when My Murphy triumphed in the Thyestes Chase at Gorham Park. It was very much a welcome success.
Oh, gee, it was. Only for a bit of a disaster of a year. I couldn't seem to win the younger races, so the point-to-points haven't gone so competitive now. We haven't been able to buy the stock for a couple of years, and hence we're left behind. But it's so great to win one of him, because the handicapper kind of had a hold of him, but we were just lucky to get one. It's a case of hit or miss with him, really, because he ran an episode at Christmas and he ran a stinker. It was a standing start, and he never got away. He took no part at all. And I wasn't happy with him up to 3 days before the race. I hummed and hard about running with him. But Robbie Power swore him on the Sunday night, and he said, sure, you're in, you might as well take your chance. So you can say there was no plan to it.
It sounds like it's tough for trainers in the current landscape.
It is difficult in the sense that we haven't got the patrons to spend the money to buy the young horses, really. It has gone a bit lopsided that way. I don't mean it lopsided either, but a lot of my owners, I met it a long time, but a lot of my owners are dead or broke or just gone out of the game, like with the recession at the time. And the syndicates all went, like we used to buy a lot of horses for the syndicates, and they went overnight. And like there was a time there 10 years ago, if you go to the sales to buy a horse, all the stores were coming out of Wexford, and there was nobody training horses in Wexford at that time, only Padgeberry, if you like, buying those type of horses. And now it's gone the other way. It's all Wexford trainers just buying the stores, and we can't compete with them really. This winter we were 30, and that's around that. Well, I wanted that many, initially maybe 20, but apart from the owner's point of view, it's actually hard to get staff now as well that are able to do the job to ride young horses. They just seem to have disappeared off the face of the earth.
You have had some top horses pass through your yard though.
I had a connection there with Paul Barber and Paul Nichols. Like, we had a lot of nice horses. He bought them from Costa, he bought some of the sales. Like Valley Henry was probably the best one. Gungadoo was another good one. And there was 2 other good ones that got killed with him. They were promising horses, but they never made it. Sorry, I had Here Comes the Truth as well. And we had Big Fella Tanks. There were 2 that I had for him. They went on to be 2 fair horses. But like, it's so hard to get the Gold Cup type horse. Like, very few make it. And that's the goal with most English owners. They want to buy a horse that can win a Gold Cup.
Inside the rails, you trained a few good ones such as Sir Frederick and Tyne again.
They were good. Very unlucky to lose Tyne again because he had an awful lot more to give. But just, he died at 8. It was unfortunate. He was a classy horse. And Sir Frederick was good, but when he won the Galway Plate, that was it. The handicapper put up a store and that was the end of him.
Liam's son Jonathan has taken the racing world by storm. Still only 20, he's become one of the brightest prospects in the sport of horse racing and ranks among the best jockeys competing over obstacles. His neighbour, Davy Condon, has been a big influence in his career. I meet Jonathan at his home near Curraglass. A photograph on the kitchen table depicts 2 neighbours, both at different stages of their lives, but both with a passion for horses.
Yeah, that was Davy's first winner in Tramore. I don't recall what age it was, but I suppose it was only 6 or 8 at the time. But Davy would have been a massive influence in my career. I would have always looked up to Davy. We spent many an evening here on the bikes racing up and down the road, and Davy was the guy that brought me into William Mullins' yard. I was aged 11 at the time. He brought me in there riding out, and I've been going in there since. So I have a lot to thank Davy for.
Your father has played his part too, of course.
I was fortunate to ride my first ever winner on the track for him. It was my first ever day riding. It was in his colours too, so very, very special. And also my first final point winners, both of them, they're on the same day and they're in his colours too. So I suppose if you were to write it, you wouldn't make it happen. But no, he's been a massive help to me, and he's been there for me through the good and bad. And he's very quick to point out what you do right, and even quicker to point out what you do wrong and correct it for you.
And to go from being an aspiring amateur jockey to becoming retained rider to Anne and Alan Potts was just phenomenal.
It kind of all happened very quick for me. I started my first ride March 2012 in Maher Racecourse, and two and a half years later I was professional for Anne and Alan Potts. So it just happened quick, but I was fortunate enough to win the Land Rover bumper for Willie Mullins as an amateur at the Punchestown Festival. That kind of gave me a springboard to turn professional. I was cautious about doing it. Dad, more so than me, was just cautious about returning professional. You had to kind of time it right. And fortunately at the time we everything just fell into place. And when I did get the job, everything clicked too. I think my second ride for Mr. Potts won, and then Size in Europe came along a month later, and everything just clicked for us. So it just worked out. I actually live with Paul Townend, and when I got the job, he was a big help to me because I was the raw tender age of 18, and Paul had a couple of years on me, but he had been through all that with the likes of Hurricane Flying that when he was 18. So like, Paul was a great help to be able to handle the bigger days, and like riding at the Cheltenham Festival, Paul was a massive help because he had been through all of it, and he's been a massive help to me. Davy was in Meads and at that stage, so probably wasn't as close to Davy at that time, but no, both of them have been brilliant. It's just amazing the way everything just clicked, as I mentioned. Size and John gave me my first grade 1, and coincidence that it was Size and John and my own name and everything. So Size and Granite and Aintree never got a buzz like that riding a winner on Grand National Day in Aintree. Like, you grow up watching the National, dreaming of that. Got to ride in the National this year. That was an amazing experience for me. Plenty of winners back here as well. Galway Plate brought back fun memories of Galway too. And that was stuff you dream of, like we mentioned Sir Frederick earlier, and back then I was dreaming of riding in Galway. If you saw me back then, you'd say I'd never make a jockey the size of me, but we worked it off and got there. I try to get home as often as I can, which isn't very often. I get plenty of slagging first, but try to get home as often as I can. It's busy. It's a busy time. Plenty of horses here and there, but I'm one of the fortunate ones to have a secure base of horses to ride, and I'm just very, very lucky to have that source of horses.
Well, there have been many great days already. You have had a few bad falls. You're on the sidelines at the moment. How did the latest injury setback come about, and what was the extent of it, Johnny? Just
a simple fall here at schooling from my father. Back home, only over a small jumping apron of a fence. Didn't even have birch in it. It was 2 days after the Aintree National, so you can just imagine that, like, after getting round 30 jumps in the Aintree National fence on the national course and getting a simple fall here. Fractured and crushed my T6 vertebra in my back, and as soon as I hit the ground, I kind of knew I was in bother. Going back to January when I did minor fractures to T3 and 4, I kind of knew this was a little bit more serious. So I was sore for 2 or 3 weeks, but it all kind of healed up well, and good order now again.
Carricktool in County Cork is the home of trainer Terrence OBrien. I meet Terrence during a busy week at the sales. A farmer originally, he's been training thoroughbreds for almost a decade now. Again, racing is in the family.
My dad was involved in racing all his life, as long as I can remember, and his father before him, and I think his grandfather, even my dad's grandfather, we had the same racing colours that we're still using today. So I suppose it goes back a good few generations now at this stage, probably into the probably even, I don't know, 1800s, maybe, definitely the start of the 1900s anyway. Brilliant. So I kind of can go back along that way, but I suppose training full time, I'm only at it maybe 8 or 10 years. Before that I was mostly farming, but I had a huge interest in it, and kind of was always more interested in racing, and I decided to dip my toe into it, and all of a sudden, before I knew it, I was kind of nearly at it full time, and sure, listen, I'm still here anyway, hanging in. We've probably riding out 10 or 11 at the moment. Some of those are young horses, just breakers, a couple of 2-year-olds. I have a 2-year-old filly for the flat. It's the first flat venture I've gotten into. We bought a yearling last year, and she'll hopefully be running in a couple of weeks. So she's in, and then there's 4 or 5 that'll probably run in the summer. There's a lad working with me. He's got a horse called Buster Den who won a couple of races last year, and he's after being second now this year, and his first run back over fences. So he'll be in for the summer, and so we'll have a few more. So hopefully 1 or 2 wins would be a big help. I suppose our busiest ever, we probably had maybe 34 or 5 riding out. This winter we probably 27 or 8. Around 30 I'd be calling full at 30 or near enough. Now I could take more, I have more stables, but I suppose just I suppose like it's a challenge to get horses, and so around 30 is what we're kind of averaging there at the last few years. The owner I've had most success with is probably Billy Horgan, who's been fantastic to me. He's bought a good few horses, and I suppose he's been lucky and unlucky in that he's had some good horses that got injured, but he's had good old success too. We won in Galway, and we got to Cheltenham and we were placed there, and he was placed in the National this year with a horse, and we won in Punchestown at Fairy House last year. So really we've had great luck. We've had some great times with his horses, but in fairness he's been a fantastic supporter. And yes, there's a lot of other locals as well. There've been some local syndicates, and there's still a couple of local syndicates around, and with varying degrees of success. We had a horse for More Madness. He was went to a local Carritool syndicate. A few others thrown in as well, but mostly Carritool. And they had a bit of fun with him. He won a few races, and we've had good old times with him. And but overall, yeah, we've had. I suppose there are a lot of locals. It's mostly locals, really. We started off with Farrell's Fancy, and I suppose it was another local syndicate, if you like. There's a few ahead of guys involved. There was a fellow, Jerry Crowley and Conor Coonan, actually, were the two contacts I had there, and they came up, and they brought up two horses, two half brothers. One was Farrell's Fancy, and the other horse was the half brother. I think he ran once for us, but unfortunately we thought he was the best of the two for a while, but he didn't turn out brilliant afterwards. But he had his troubles. But the other horse ended up winning in Leopardstown for us, the Leopardstown Chase, which is a big handicap there, and that was probably one of our biggest successes. And then Ballyadam Approach for Billy Horgan won last year in Fairy House. He won a big handicap there, and then he went on and won the Guinness Handicap in Punchestown. And he went on again this year and was third in the National. So with another mare then belonged to another local woman and her two sisters, actually, the Melricks. They were great supporters there. We had a mare, She's Got Grit, and started off at she was 7 when I got her. She was 8 when we ran in. She was second first time out in a point and a confined in Killa in a 4-horse race, and you'd say, geez, where would you go from here? And she ended up winning in Leopardstown, a big chase in Leopardstown, and she won a couple of big handicaps. I think she was second in Punchestown in a big handicap there, and we just had her spot on with our first runner in the National, and she fell at the first, which is a huge disappointment because I was never as confident with any horse going to a race. She was just in tremendous form, and I was absolutely devastated, as I'm sure the owners were. But I'm sure I'm not the first trainer to be devastated, and I won't be the last. But that's the highs and lows, the snakes and ladders of the game.
With the point-to-point season now over, the attention switches to the sales. I know you were at the sales yourself this week, looking for the next star, perhaps.
Yeah, I was at the sales this week. Yeah. As I said, you have 3 main sales. You've got the Land Rover, which was on this week. Then you've got the Derby sale, which is on the Tattersalls, and then there's an August sale in Tattersalls then as well. And I suppose the Land Rover sale and the Derby sale will be the 2 premier sales. And look, sometimes I have owners who are willing to spend decent money to get something. I had an order for 2 horses at this sale. I ended up not getting any. Sometimes if you're, I probably, it's typical that most people go in and try and buy 5 or 6, have 5 or 6 ones picked out, or maybe even a lot more than that, but you'd end up bidding in 5 or 6, and some people like them more than you do, or have more money, and that's the way it works. And I suppose at the first sale you're not under pressure because there are 2 more sales left. So but it's an important thing if you have an owner looking to buy a horse. The pressure is on the trainer then to go out and get something that's supposed to win, and it's a tough game out there. There are probably 2 or 2,500 horses going to be sold. Probably only 100 of those are going to win, so maybe 150, maybe 200, I'm not sure, but it's a small percentage. And you're lucky enough if you'll come across one of them. There are a lot of good trainers out there in this area, as you've interviewed a lot of them already, I believe, but and some real top class trainers who've trained a lot more winners than I've had. And I think we're all finding it tough at the moment. It's well documented that the big owners are going to the big trainers and they're dominating it more and more. So I suppose we kind of end up serving the kind of lower, not the lower end, but maybe just the people who are willing to support the local trainer, really. And it's an expensive game, so there's a lot of trainers in this area, and I don't know how much room there is for expansion. I'd be happy to stay as I am.
Field was funded by the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland with the television licence fee. It was produced and presented by Jordan McCarthy, edited by Tom Maher, and the sound engineer was Thomas O'Keeffe. A Community Radio Youghal production.